Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Wednesday webinar on interpretation through Lingolet. I'm Lauren Harrison, the Assistant ELL Director for Newton Public Schools, and this presentation is a part of a larger presentation that's been made available across the district about our new communication tools for interpretation and translation. This slide deck is a huge one that has more information probably than you will ever need, but we want you to know what's available because what works for some people doesn't work for other people in terms of technology and context. So just so you know, there's a lot available for helping families and staff members communicate and have meaningful two-way communication. So check out that full slide deck that will be located in the notes. Before we go any farther, I just want to clarify that this presentation is about interpretation, and that's the spoken language. It's when a spoken or ASL translation between speakers who speak different languages is provided. So it's spoken language. Translation is written language, and that's not a part of this webinar today. You may have seen these posters around. We've been distributing them, and they were made at the print shop at Newton North. You can access this poster through the slide deck directly by clicking on this image in the slide deck. This is really for orientation purposes and as a reminder of all the different ways you can access interpretation services through Lingolet. There are three ways: by phone, by computer, and by app. And we'll go over those today together. So just so you can see, I'm going to click on the image here. From the slide deck, if you click on it, you'll be able to access some hyperlinks on the digital copy. So you'll be able to find the school-specific phone number and PIN that you'll need to access Lingolet by phone. I'll show you what that looks like. This is a Google folder of all the different schools, school-specific pins. So you're going to want to find your school and click on it. And probably, if you use this service a lot, you'll want to print this or just copy down the phone number and the PIN for future reference and easy access whenever you need it. Another thing available on the poster here is the link to the Lingolet hybrid platform online if you're accessing Lingolet by computer. There's also a video tutorial available. A reminder here that you can access Lingolet by app, and some ways you can, or things you might want to reach out to the ELL department office about, as well as a family liaison request form, a link back to the slides, our office extension, a past webinar, and some written tips for families, and then a note about translation services. One thing to note that there is a change. This says for special education, interpretation, and translation requests, contact Caitlin McAdams. However, now all interpretation requests go through Lingolet. It's actually not a request, it's an on-demand service that you can initiate yourself. There's no reason to make an appointment or anything. You can just dial up Lingolet directly. It's interpretation on demand. After this presentation, if you feel that you need a Lingolet account to be able to access Lingolet interpretation through the web browser, by computer, or by app, you can submit a request on this request form, and our ELL office is continually processing these requests to set up new accounts for Lingolet. This is the same form we use to set up for Talking Points, which is another tool we have available. If you need any help with thinking through communication using Lingolet, please reach out to our office using our new ELL office email address. Please note that this is a service for all families who need language assistance, and it's not just for ELL families. Many of you have heard this information before, but it is worth repeating for sure. ELL families make up less than half of the families requiring language assistance, and more than half of the families requiring language assistance are families of color. So we believe that language assistance is a matter of racial equity. Providing interpretation services is also closely tied to our statement of values and commitment to equity in Newton Public Schools, particularly with these first two statements here about our responsibility to ensure that students, staff, and families of color feel seen and heard, and to give voice to those who have traditionally been underrepresented and historically marginalized. Lingolet very practically helps us to hear the voices of families of color and other families who need language assistance. This does help fulfill our legal obligations to families that need language assistance, and also our obligations to provide meaningful communication as we use this tool from Lingolet. So a little bit about Lingolet. It's a global company. It started in 2020. It's a tech and language company, so it's tech plus translation and interpretation services. They have very highly trained interpreters around the world. There are thousands of them just waiting for our call. It is consecutive interpretation, so the speakers and interpreters take turns. It's not a simultaneous interpretation service. And it's interpretation for staff to access by phone, by web browser, or by app. So here's the first way, and it's the easiest. It's directions for over-the-phone interpreting, and there's a video of one of our staff members, Allison McDade, accessing the service with her mobile phone. First, let me tell you, before you access this service, you're going to need that school-specific number and PIN. So if I can forward to the next screen, I'll show you. This type of over-the-phone interpreting might be used for a three-way phone call, and that's what Allison is demonstrating in this video. These are some things you'll need before you call. You'll need the parent guardian name, phone number, and think about a voicemail message that you would like the Lingolet interpreter to leave if they happen to get voicemail. You'll need the info ready so you can call Lingolet. So remember, it's that Lingolet number plus your school-specific PIN that's linked here and other spots in this presentation, as well as on that big poster. The phone number is here, and it's the same across the district, but your school has a specific PIN. So let's watch Allison as she accesses Lingolet over the phone, on-demand interpreting. And this is how she initiates a three-way call. Whoops.
That's 718-838-9317. Then I'm going to call, put my speaker on.
For interpretation services, please enter your PIN followed by pound.
So I'm going to enter my PIN number, and I'm going to put in FIRS because that's where I work.
Welcome. For interpretation,
and that is 817-60480.
Please select language for interpretation service. Or to speak the language, dial 0 at any time. Dial 1 for Spanish, 2 for Chinese, Mandarin, 3 for Continental Portuguese, 4 for Russian, 5 for Japanese, 6 for Korean, 7 for Arabic, 8 for French, 9 for Vietnamese, 10 for
So I selected 8 for French.
Searching for interpreter.
So now the system is going to find somebody within the network.
Hello, this is your French interpreter. I need 70.
So you can see that it connects really quickly over the phone. So from there, in the example with Allison McDade, she would have the family's phone number and a family member's name available for the interpreter, as well as a voicemail message in case the interpreter reaches the parent or guardian voicemail when they try to initiate a three-way call. So the Lingolet interpreters can initiate the call with the parent. You don't need to have the parent or guardian on the phone with you already. And it's possible for the Lingolet interpreter to also loop in one additional person besides the parent or guardian. For example, it might be a family liaison from Newton Public Schools. So 4 people can be on the line at once, including the interpreter, and have a conversation. In terms of online meetings, it's best to use Google Meet for this purpose. If you need an interpreter, and this slide shows instructions for initiating that call with Lingolet on a Google Meet. It's very straightforward, and I'll show you in just a moment how to do it. Again, before the Google Meet, you'll need this information. That's really all you need because the interpreter comes directly into your Google Meet. There's no waiting or anything, and they don't need to call the parent. The parent should be there with you before you initiate the call within the meeting. So let's see how that works. Let's open Google Meet. I know that people are more familiar with Zoom in our district at this point, but let me just show you how Google Meet will work. You'll start a meeting by clicking on those 9 dots in the corner and finding the Google Meet app. Then you can click New Meeting. This is where you can get a link for a meeting for later, or you can just start an instant meeting. But let's say you've created a link that you're using for parent-teacher conferences, so you can click on that link and enter the meeting. You might be prompted at the start to add others to your meeting. If that's not available, you're going to go down to the bottom of the screen and click the 2 participant icons. Click Add People and click Call. And here is where you enter the Lingolet number. So I'm just going to copy that over to make it easier, to make sure I have all the numbers correct. And note that your parent can already, or guardian can already be in the meeting when you're doing this because it's instant. So you click Call and reveal the keypad.
Interpretation services, please enter your PIN followed by pound.
And I entered this PIN for my
Welcome.
school.
For interpretation services, please enter your PIN followed by pound.
All right, so that's my number. Click pound.
Please select language for interpretation service. Or to speak the language, dial 0 at any time. Dial 1 for Spanish, 2 for Chinese, Mandarin, 3 for Continental Portuguese, 4 for Russian, 5 for Japanese.
So you can choose 0 if you want to speak your language, or you can listen to the prompts, but there are hundreds of languages available. I ended it so that I don't waste an interpreter's time, but the interpreter is then dialed directly into your meeting, and that's a real advantage over Zoom for using Google Meet at this time. So the slide deck also provides this slide with the instructions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that you're welcome to print in order to move through the Google Meeting prompts well and in time for your meeting. It is possible to have an interpreter call into a Zoom meeting, and the instructions are laid out here, but to be honest, it is not as easy. We've experienced some difficulty with Lingolet interpreters joining Zoom meetings by dialing into the meeting. If you want to try it, feel free. However, I would really recommend that you use Google Meet for dialing an interpreter into the meeting, or if you need to, use a phone on speakerphone and hold it up to your Zoom meeting, making sure if you're the one with the interpreter on your phone that you stay unmuted throughout the entire meeting. I think you can see how this would be more challenging on Zoom already, but sometimes Lingolet interpreters can call into a Zoom meeting, but it does take 2 to 3 minutes or longer for the interpreter to do that, and sometimes they just don't. There are directions for web browser access as well. For this, you'll need an account for Lingolet in order to access this through the web browser or through the app. Again, there's a video tutorial, or you can look at this following slides in this presentation for web browser access, but let's check out the tutorial. Just a moment. Today, I'll show you how to access an on-demand interpreter for a meeting using the Lingolet hybrid platform. This is for those of you who have an account with Lingolet. If you don't have one yet, it may be available to you if you contact the ELL office for help. When you enter your username and password, you'll first be prompted to select the language, and this is the language the meeting will take place in. Then you choose the language of interpreter needed. Be sure that you indicate either Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever dialect of Chinese. There's several. You can choose the gender preference, and industry will be education. Then you can select voice call, as this works in most situations, or you can select video call. We'll try voice call. It takes a little time to connect with an interpreter. The average is actually 2 seconds, so this is a little slow.
Hi, thanks for calling. This is Eva, your Chinese interpreter.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just testing out the system for a demonstration. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for calling. Bye.
You'll be given the option to rate the call. And that's it. Let us know if you need any help. So again, to access this, and if you need an account, be sure to fill out the request form that's included in the slide deck. You can also contact the ELL office if you have trouble finding that, but we'd prefer for you to submit the request through that Google form at the beginning of this slide deck. So the video tutorial is here, and in the slides there are also step-by-step instructions for doing this, as well as I did figure out with Lingolet how to have a Zoom meeting with video using the web browser. In this case, the interpreter would only be able to see the person who's hosting the meeting, but everyone in the meeting would be able to see the interpreter. So there are contexts where this can be helpful, and that is an option for you. We haven't yet figured out how to do this with Google Meet, and so that is in the works. Just make sure you refer to this slide deck. Just one note, you should only be using this on-demand interpreter section. And again, a reminder, an interpreter is for the spoken word. Additionally, and I won't show you this piece, but you can access Lingolet through an app as well. Again, you'll need it with an NPS account. So you'll need to request an account in order to do this. You shouldn't just sign up on your own, or you'll be charged through Lingolet for any use of their services through the app. We do have these FAQs included in the slide deck for your convenience. People often ask about confidentiality with Lingolet interpreters, and rest assured that all of them have NDA, HIPAA if they're medical interpreters, and a code of ethics that they must sign before they're allowed to even accept calls. You don't have to have a Lingolet account. The easiest way for many people is just to use the by phone dial-in option on an actual phone or through Google Meet. This service is for staff members to access directly, as I've said before, not parents. And Lingolet interpreters are highly trained, including for specialized language like in IEP meetings. They've assured us that our interpreters are ready for anything. And if you find an interpreter is not effective, be sure to rate that interpreter if you're using the web browser or app, or pass along any feedback to our office, and we will talk with Lingolet about that. There are additional resources included in the slide deck, including a printable for school staff, especially in the front office. That's an I Speak printable. You can click there to see it. And finally, if you need any help, again, with communication, especially through Lingolet or any of our other tools, feel free to reach out to our office by dialing our extension or through email. And we just want to say thank you so much for supporting meaningful two-way communication with multilingual families. And we're happy to have this new tool, Lingolet, to ensure high quality interpretation throughout our district. Thanks a lot.